As where the crows go, nobody knows.
Hello and welcome to today's video, and today I'm going to be counting down the top 5 scare mazes I've ever experienced. And before I get into the video, there is going to be a rule. I will not be including trailers Breakout of Bozos in this video. And even though it may technically count as a scare maze, the rule is it's got to be at a Halloween event to make it to this list, and trailers Breakout at Bozos was at Fort Park Carnival in August, which isn't a Halloween event. If I'd experienced the original version of trailers at Fright Nights, it probably would be on this list. But for now, I've only experienced trailers Breakout of Bozos, and it isn't on this list for today. So this is actually the first edition of my favourite scare mazes. I'll be doing one of these every year, hopefully, if I get any more scare mazes. But let's begin with today's video of top 5 scare mazes, starting with number 5. So starting off at number 5, we have the Attic Terror of the Towers at Alton Towers Scarefest. Now this maze is very unique for all the mazes, most scare mazes, because it's actually built within the tower's ruins themselves, which is very unique. It's never been done for any other scare maze that I know of before. It's got a brilliant storyline and heavy theming. I guess my only problem with it is the lack of actors. I'm not sure if it was because my run through of it was the lack of actors, probably maybe half a dozen actors in there. Although apparently that's been a recurring problem throughout the whole of this Scarefest. Apparently it wasn't like that before, and I only went in the attic for the first time this Scarefest. So maybe if it had more actors in it, it would probably be a bit higher up in this list. But overall, it's a brilliant scare maze, a brilliant story and scares, and I absolutely love this maze. So the Attic Terror of the Towers is number 5, and now on to number 4. So at number 4 we have Platform 15 End of the Line at Fort Park Fright Nights. And at this maze, it is very different than all the other mazes on this list. It is an outdoor, it was an outdoor scare maze at Fort Park Fright Nights. It operated from 2016's Fright Nights until last season in 2021. That was its final season of operation, in order to make way for Project Exodus, which will hopefully be built in a couple of years' time. And I went in this maze in its final season last year, and it was brilliant. Although I only ever went in this maze once, and it was during the daytime. I wish I could have done it at night, because apparently outdoor mazes are a lot better during the night. I think the thing about it is because it's an outdoor maze, that means it's probably a bit less immersive, because you're out in the open, you can actually see the things outside the maze. That's why I think indoor mazes I prefer. But this maze is a classic Fright Nights maze. It is definitely missed, and Platform 15 End of the Line is number 4, and now on to number 3. So at number 3 we have Darkest Depths at Alton Towers Scarefest, and this maze is probably the most heavily themed scare maze I've ever done. When I went in the maze, I'm not joking, there was so much detail around every corner. It was absolutely brilliant. The theming was immaculate in there. If you don't know what this maze is, it was originally a family scare maze when it first opened in 2019. It was originally located in the Mutiny Bay area. And in 2020 they relocated it to near the tower's ruins and made it an intense horror maze. And as you can imagine, it's got a pirate theme, which is very different than a lot of other scare mazes. And it was an absolutely incredible experience. The acting was fantastic, and the bit at the end where you literally got jump scared by the Kraken, that was actually brilliant, honestly. And this maze is a lot of fun. and it's probably like I said earlier, it's like very heavily themed, and even not just like physical theming, but they literally have like smellitizer devices that make you think like you're on a pirate ship. You can smell the salt water, and it's honestly so brilliant. It's probably the most heavily themed scare maze I've done. So yeah, Darkest Depths at Alton Towers Scarefest is number 3, and now on to number 2. So at number 2 we have Altonville Mine Tours at Alton Towers Scarefest. Now this maze is my favourite scare maze at Alton Towers Scarefest that I've done so far. And out of the 3 mazes that they've had at Scarefest this year, it's probably the most intense maze that they have to offer this season. Like, it's so claustrophobic. Literally, you're in a mine, in an abandoned mine full of what are known as skin snatchers, and honestly, it is absolutely brilliant, intense maze. Obviously, like all the other Alton Towers mazes, it is heavily themed, immersive experience, and some of the scares that you get in there are honestly brilliant. Like, towards the end, there was literally someone firing like a shotgun at me, and obviously, literally at the very end of the maze, that's literally what happens. Obviously, it's not going to be real, but it was still scary to think. Literally, I literally ducked for my life when walking through the end. It was that amazing. And yeah, Altonville Mine Tours is my number 2 scare maze. And before I get to number 1, please make sure to like and subscribe, and comment with like to see the next videos. I'm going to do more videos pretty much every other day. And now finally on to number...
Anyone at Creepy Cave? Come in. This is a Creepy Cave control. Anyone in Creepy Cave lab room? Come in. Anyone? Please come in.
So we have finally reached number 1. And my number 1 scare maze that I have done so far is Creepy Cave's Resurgence at Chessington World of Adventures. And the ironic thing about this maze, right, is that it's at Chessington Halloween, which is supposed to be like a family Halloween event, and yet this maze is incredibly intense. Honestly, it's recommended for ages 12 plus. I think me and a lot of people would agree that it should be rated recommended for ages 13 plus because it's that scary. It is very claustrophobic indoor maze. Literally, half of the time when I was walking through, I could not see where I was going because there were either loads of strobe light in it or it was in pitch black. And honestly, the jump scares in there were fantastic. Honestly, this maze is so much fun. It is so chaotic in there, and all the live actors did an excellent job in scaring the life out of people in that maze. And it's so much fun. Obviously, it's not the longest maze in the world. Probably the longest one that I've done is Platform 15, but it doesn't need to be incredibly long because it is the amount of time it does have. It packs a punch in terms of storytelling. Cause it's got a good story as well. Theming, honestly, inside of there is so heavily themed, and scary actors. It is so much fun. And if you ever went to Chessington, in fact, I was just going to say if you went to Chessington, I would highly recommend it. But at the time of recording this, this is its final season. At the time of recording this, Chessington's Creepy Cave's final day of operation was yesterday. This was its final season. I went in it as Creepy Cave's Resurgence last year. It's been known by a few names over the years. This year, for its final season, it was known as Creepy Cave's Elimination. And unfortunately, that basically means that it will not return ever again because it's been going on for quite a while, and Chessington probably going to want to replace it with a new scare maze next year or something. But it was an absolutely fantastic maze, and I hope this year they gave it a good final send-off with Creepy Cave's Elimination. So that is it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, then please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment with like to see you in the next video. Bye.